Okay, update video. I've got 10,000 miles on the truck now. Just did my second oil change. My first oil change was at 8,000. I put in Rotella T6, but kind of the consensus online was that that caused regens to happen sooner. Well, it did. So I switched over to Valvoline Premium Blue Extreme 5W40, which again, as mentioned in another video, it is on the Ford's recommended list. It's approved. Anyway, so 10,000 miles, no issues to date. It's been a good truck. I see an average of 1 regen a week. That's just basic, you know, driving around, going to work, and I do work on base, so I do a lot of city driving. I'll get to the regens and the frequency of them here in a little bit. I have a spreadsheet that I've been collecting data, fuel mileage, regen, occurrences, and so forth. Anyways, overall, happy with the truck. I might be doing some things to it. I haven't decided yet. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the truck. So I do wish it had front sensors. That would be pretty cool, but you know, it's okay. My Ram did, but that's all right. Not a big deal. So anyways, yep, no issues to date. All right, so to add to my 10,000 mile update, I wanted to bring up my spreadsheet. So since I got the truck last December of 17, this chart is just for 2018 only, but I've been calculating my mileage, my regens, you know, keeping track of all that. So you can kind of see, here's the dates of when I fuel up, right? You can see miles driven, driving conditions, city, mixed, highway, gallons filled, average miles per gallon. This is all hand calculated, by the way. Total cost, and then I also added my regens, regen start, regen complete, total miles, regen, and miles between last regen. When I first had my OCR regen, it was looks like 21st of February. You can see right there, OCR time. So instead of, you know, mileage, it was time. So OCR time start at 14:37, OCR finish 15:05. 28 minutes to complete, 312 miles since the last regen. So that's where's my finger here? 312 miles since the last regen, which was 6,820 miles. So anyways, you can kind of see, I usually average a regen every other tank, sometimes every week, as you can see there. Depends on what I'm doing, driving. My overall mileage, as a matter of fact, let me scroll all the way down. You can see my overall mileage for the 2018 has been 15 miles to the gallon. I've spent roughly $1,400 in fuel, and so forth. Anyways, so when I did my first oil change, which was around, I think, 8,000 miles or so, so it was really after my last OCR regen, which is right there. I changed my oil somewhere around this point in time. Actually, it might have been at 8,500 miles. Anyways, I switched over to Rotella T6 because I've always used that in my Cummins, but I've read online that it causes the Fords to regen sooner. Well, you can kind of see my average, how many miles it takes before it regens, right? So when I did start calculating or keeping track of it was back in January. You can see that my first, what's that word? My first, you know, calculated regen or whatever. My first documented regen, there we go. 511 miles was between that regen and that last one. And you can kind of see 512 miles, 347, 474, 318, 350, 330, 426, and so forth. So I'm averaging roughly about, you know, maybe, let's just say 350 miles before regens. But when I switched over to T6, I did notice something funny. It would go from my DPS, my exhaust filter full status would go from 0 to 50% in like 2 days of normal driving. And that was a lot. That was quick. And even though some of here I've had some lower, mileage in terms of when it regens, but I did notice that it seemed like my DPF was filling up quicker. So I just did another oil change and I switched over to Valvoline Premium Blue 5W40 because I had also read that had reduced the amount of regens, at least regenning quicker. So we'll see. You can see my last regen here was just the first. Is today the first? That was last night. Yeah. Anyways, it had regened, and it was 313 miles before since the last one. You can kind of see it steadily decreasing. 380, 378, 358, and 313 with the T6. So I switched over to Valvoline and we'll see what happens. If it increases, maybe I hoping to get maybe 400 miles before regen, but we'll see. Anyway, so take a look at that. I know some people like to, I keep track of all my fuel mileage. I'm very tedious about that. I've done this for all my trucks. I have lots of spreadsheets documenting my Ram trucks. And those were getting, ridiculously good fuel mileage. As a matter of fact, I can show you, why not, right? So let's go to Ram trucks here. Let's go to my 2016 fuel mileage. Let's go to 2016. So you can see everything highlighted in green is mileage. And by the way, during this time, my truck was not deleted. It's all stock. And you can see my fuel mileage, 21 miles to the gallon. I'm averaging, these highway mileages are really good between, well over 20 highway mileage. And you can see, date, cost of fuel, how far I've driven, whether it was city mix, traffic, highway. This is my average mileage per month. Anyways, you can see right here, look at that. I got 24 miles to the gallon. Look at this one, 25 miles to the gallon in my Ram. So a lot of people say, oh, you can't, get over 20 miles to the gallon in these trucks. Yeah, you can. You just gotta drive responsibly. You can see in my Ram, look, the Ram 6.7 Cummins, look at that, ridiculous fuel mileage. 25 miles to the gallon, 24.9 miles to the gallon, and so forth. And you can see that as we get closer into the winter months, it gets colder and colder. With the switch to winterized diesel, you can kind of see mileage kind of goes down. I'm still able to squeeze 20 respectively, but I stay within the 18, 19. That's the amber color. Anyways, yeah, so the Rams, you can get really good fuel mileage. On my Ford, though, yeah, the highest, I think, I'm around 18 miles per gallon is my highest that I've seen. I guess that's to be expected. The Ford's V8 versus the Cummins straight 6. So, I guess that's to be expected. Anyways, I hope this is helpful to anyone out there.